And heartfelt thanks and deep respect for Dr. Jain for allowing me and giving me this opportunity for presenting some of my thoughts based on the experience of countless villagers and a lot of research. I want to place my thoughts before you. First, looking at what are the challenges that we have, and more importantly, looking at what can we do now. And since I had very illustrious speakers before me, so some of it may be repetitive, I will then skip through those slides and then move on to the next slide. So thank you once again, and thank you audience for also giving me a patient hearing. When I was having discussions with Dr. Jain, he suggested that we look at that I speak about what are the mitigation strategies that are possible looking at to attain water security in a country like ours, in a beautiful and diverse country like ours. And what I'm going to focus on is looking at how water brings prosperity. I think Dr. Jain had briefly mentioned it in his wonderful address. How it can bring peace and how it brings security. So imagine if you have, and I think Pragya ma'am had before also mentioned that if you know that there is water, then you're at peace. Whether you're a person in the house, whether you're an industrialist, whether you are a farmer, whatever you do, if you know that there's water for your own consumption and for the work that you're involved in, that gives you a sense of peace. And the moment this water is not there, then tensions arise, be it between neighboring streets in your mohalla, be it between neighboring streets in a village, between villages, between cities, between states. We have a lot of cases in the court because of interstate disputes looking at water, and I'm sure sir our retired High Court judge would have experience in that. So this tension at all different levels, even country levels, in between countries, even international, between different regions. So if we want peace, then we need water and also security. When we talk about security, unfortunately, we usually talk about, when we talk about national security, we look at, safeguarding our boundaries, looking at defense security. But unless we have water, unless we are an Atmanirbhar Bharat in terms of water, then security becomes a big challenge, because we've already seen if we don't have food to eat, which we saw in Indira Gandhi's time, then there's a lot of negotiation that you have to do. There's a lot of loss of dignity that you have to face. So water is very important for all these for all these issues that are written here. And we say that water is life. Water brings life, and there is also water in life. There's a whole ecosystem around water resources, be it groundwater, be it surface water. There's so many life forms that are there. So there is a lot of life that is there in water itself. And when we talk of water, we talk of so many different things. And I think some of us had mentioned some of the SDGs, but if you look at SDG goal number 6, which is around water, sanitation and hygiene, and if you look at the other 16 SDGs, water is key. It's the keystone if you want to achieve the other 16 sustainable development goals. So that's how important water is in our life. Coming to some of the challenges, I have just tried to place a broad perspective before you, because we also heard from Dr. Gupta looking at water scarcity and also looking at floods. So in India, we have a problem of either too much water, where you have the floods, or we have too less water, where you have the water scarcity. And there are two pictures on the top which show you some examples of water scarcity. This figure is about floods, and the other one, the problem that we have, is of water pollution. India has a huge problem of water pollution, be it surface water bodies and be it groundwater. And then because of this, then we have the issue of uneven availability within a particular city. If I see the city that I come from, from Delhi, there itself there is a skewed distribution between who is there in New Delhi, how much water he or she has, or how much water a person in a slum has. And when a resource becomes scarce, that's when the people who don't have voice and don't have power, that's when they kind of lose access to water. And so you also have, unequal access. So if you talk about equality and equal access, then that's when you have a kind of a problem. Uh, these are some of the statistics that were also presented by NITI Aayog. And if you see this map here, if you see India there, it's the dark, I don't know if you have a pointer here. So there's the dark brown color, that's the area of extreme high water stress. So we are a country which has extreme challenges of water security. And according to NITI Aayog also, we have, in 2019, we had almost 600 people who were lacking, who were experiencing high to extreme water stress. And in terms of water quality, we are now 120 out of 122 countries. That's the bottom where we are in terms of a water quality index. And over and above of this kind of mismanagement of water, which I think even Pragya mentioned and Dr. Gupta also mentioned, we have this, the issue of climate change. So first of all, we have not been managing our water very well, and now there is going to be, we are already feeling the impacts of climate change. I think Jaipur has had unprecedented amount of rainfall this monsoon, and even last year when a huge amount of water fell in a really short period of time, and even your airport was flooded, the roads were flooded, and so on and so forth. So as it is, we are in a sensitive situation, and now we have to bear with the impacts of climate change, which is going to skew the water cycle. This also, I think Dr. Gupta mentioned, is that we're having a constant decline in the per capita availability of water. And this is a map which shows you like how 54% of India faces high to extreme high water stress. We also know that groundwater is the balance of our is the backbone of our water resource here, and we also are the largest extractor. We extract 25% of all the groundwater that is extracted in the world. The figures about irrigation, etc., were already shared by Dr. Jain. And yet, when we are in this situation, we are still continuing to take out faster than that what we are putting in, faster than what is the natural discharge, which is what also Pragya mentioned, that क्रेडिट कार्ड का पेमेंट आपको कभी ना कभी तो करना पड़ेगा. जैसे आपका अगर वाटर बैंक है, आप निकालते रहोगे तो कब तक आप इसको निकालते रहोगे. एंड वी हैव आल्सो सीन दैट द डीपर यू गो इनटू द ग्राउंड वाटर एक्विफर्स, you're taking out the last of the resource that you have, plus you're also bringing out a whole lot of chemicals that are entering your groundwater and into your consumption. These are some of examples about the groundwater quality. This was a question that was answered by the member of parliament. We have nitrate in 56% of India. 56 India districts have exceeded the limit of nitrate. We have fluoride in 469 districts. We have arsenic in 25 states, 230 districts. We have industrial chemicals, high TDS, high iron, heavy metals, etc. And Delhi, horrifying for me to know that Delhi now we have uranium contamination that is now in presence in 7 states. Delhi has the second largest amount of uranium in the groundwater. In addition, we have lead in Delhi, we have nitrate, we have fluoride, and we have biological contamination. So, and in Bihar, there are examples which scientists have shown that even the breast milk of mothers in I think 3 districts contains uranium. So this is not the radioactive uranium, but it definitely has problems for the kidney, and it has problems of creating cancer, causing cancer. So we have this huge cocktail of water that we are consuming, and we don't have any alternative. Some of these you don't even have filters. Some of these are not even measured, when as per the standards, when your water supply department is giving you drinking water. So it's a serious, serious problem, and I think it's a ticking time bomb that we need to take care of. Also, we have this issue of forever chemicals. Once they enter the water, they will never go away. They will never go away no matter what you do. So, when you're planning an industry, think carefully what is the waste that you're going to put into the environment, what you're going to put into the water, and what you're going to put into the soil, because they will never go away for thousands of years. If you look at the state of rivers, we have a lot of rivers drying up. Even this time we found that the Ganga river had dried up, which was, इतने लेवल का ड्राइंग गंगा नदी में, हमारी माँ गंगा नदी में पिछले 1300 साल में नहीं दिखा था. We have rivers in South India drying up. If you are flying, you can see dry, sand, meandering sand. You don't see the water in the rivers. So our rivers are also drying up, and the connection of the river Ganga with groundwater, I think I can also come back to that later, is when we see how this groundwater is providing base flows to the river Ganga when it enters into the plains region. So important to understand this groundwater and surface water and river water relationship. Again, river water is also heavily polluted. These are the data from Central Pollution Control Board. Unfortunately, now it's very difficult to get data, but this is some of the previous studies that they have done. Shape of thing to come, I think a lot of that was shared in the statistics by Dr. Gupta, so I won't go into those. But if you are talking of increasing our GDP, if you are talking of increasing, becoming the fourth largest or the third largest economy, we must also know that according to the World Bank, India's GDP could shrink by up to 6% by 2050 because of water scarcity. So while we are pushing for development where we can, increase our GDP, the other side is this water which is pulling us down. And what is the net balance is something that we need to take a big cognizant about. Also, lack of water has a whole lot of other issues. It's connected to health, it's connected to cross-border tensions, it is connected to agriculture, to even the quality of the produce that is, that the farmers produce, and so on and so forth. Biodiversity is also affected, and once something is affected, then it is like a domino effect. Everything else starts to get affected. I had spoken earlier about the impact of climate change. If you see the map, this red color map, if you see India there in the dark, the dark brown or maroon color, so India is one of the top 5 countries that is going to be affected by climate change in terms of drought. And if you look at the other map, which is blue, India is going to be one of the top 5 countries that is going to be affected by increased flood risk because of climate change. So we are in this situation where climate change is going to bring about an increase in drought and is going to bring about an increase in flood because of the change in the monsoon pattern and many other factors. So let us look at some of the economic losses that will happen because of this increase in drought and the increase in flood, that is because of climate change. So looking only at the impact of climate change. If you look at India, the statistics say that in 2022, India suffered 8% GDP loss because of climate change, and this could reach up to 24.7% by 2070. So again, climate change and the impact of drought and flood, the impact of climate change related drought and flood is going to heavily affect our GDP. I would just like to spend one slide on how water climate affects women. We keep saying that it is the woman's work burden to bring water for the household, to take care of the household. But there are immense ways in which a woman is affected, more than the way a male is affected. And I just want to put some of the things in front of this August gathering here. It affects the physical and the mental health because the woman is constantly under stress कि मैं अपने घर के लिए पानी कहाँ से लेके आऊँगी, कैसे लेके आऊँगी. कभी उनको दूर जाना पड़ता है, किसी अपर कास्ट के घर से पानी लेके आना पड़ता है, फिर वहाँ पे टेंशन, फिजिकल अब्यूज़, इवन सेक्सुअल अब्यूज़, ताने सुनने, and these are all examples that women talk about. Even a young woman working in a city, if she has to go to work and there is no water in her house, or the water comes at 3 a.m. at night, it's just difficult for her to have managed this work and her home balance. Also physical stress, it's again all this is research. The woman has to carry the burden on her head. Because of that there is a depression in the head. Because of that there is backache. Because of that women have had spontaneous abortions. If they're in a drought condition, they will not drink enough water. Then if they are expecting a baby, the baby is born with less weight and stunted growth. So the impact is intergenerational. So if we are an aspirational India, if our future generation is not born with the proper IQ, just imagine how, how important water is. Also, it increases human trafficking and early child marriage. This is examples from this state itself where we are here today. How child trafficking increased during the times of serious drought, and how early child marriages have also increased in India and in other countries as well. Because for the home, if you sell your, if you sell your daughter, then you have one less person to feed, one less person, and you get some money which you can use for the house. So a lot of social issues come because of lack of water. It also affects the menopause that women go through. It affects menstrual health. Ma'am, you were talking of hygiene. Woman is not able to maintain the hygiene she needs if there is no water. And there is examples from Maharashtra where women have by themselves gone and removed their uterus because they cannot manage their menstruation and the other challenges they face when they are going from one place to another. They are migrating because of drought. So the impact on the life of women or lack of water is really huge. They're also anemic, and when climate change is going to increase the stress, the effect is going to be more on women and girls as compared to boys and men. So we need to keep that also in mind. When we talk about climate change, so it's a global thing. It's a global phenomenon that's happening, but the impact is felt through local experiences and what's happening in villages and towns. And similarly, to adapt, to develop resilience also requires local initiatives rather than, yes, you're looking at larger initiatives, you're looking at cutting down your carbon footprint, you're looking at shifting away from fuel-based economy, but you need to have local adaptation measures, and for that water is critical. This is just rain. Ma'am was speaking from Kota, how the person working in her house said that घर में पानी पीने को नहीं है, पर थोड़ी सी बारिश हुई तो घर flooded, roads flooded, पर टैप में पानी नहीं है. So, और दूसरी जगह अचानक बहुत सारा पानी, even normal rainfall I see in Delhi, even normal amount of rainfall now, the streets are flooded. And this is the story of all different cities in India, when this is actually the primary source of water. So it's a gift from nature, it's a gift from God, and now we are making it the villain that is the cause of why we are suffering, and we are saying बहुत बारिश आई और इसलिए हमें ये problem हो गई. So that is something that we need to think about. It. Is it really the rain that is helping us go through this pain that we are going through of drought and flood? Is it really the rain, or is it our mismanagement or our development paradigm that is causing this? Let us understand the balancing act of rainwater conservation. This is from Sarik. How much time do I have? 5 minutes? Yeah? Okay, so I'm coming towards the end. So this is from the Sariska forest, where a series of rainwater harvesting structures, which are for surface water collection as well as groundwater recharge, how they helped revive a river, and because of that, also because of the water availability, how you had a lot of greenery there, then the forest came in, then the wildlife came in, the wildlife had water to drink, people had livelihoods, reverse migration happened, and even the poaching came down. That was a kind of a surprise. So that's what can happen if you do rainwater harvesting and if you do groundwater recharge. And this is an example of the Chambal and Karoli district, how the dacoits gave up their arms and took to water conservation, and how they changed their own story, and how they brought about a rejuvenation of their own society, of themselves, a revival of small streams, and a revival of the economy. And we did a calculation of 3 villages where the farmers were able to earn a profit of 8 lakhs per annum, removing all the costs that they incurred. And this was 30 times the investment that they made on water conservation. And because of this, you had a green circular economy that came in, which provided, employment or, business, small business opportunities, 100 times more. So this is the kind of power of decentralized rainwater conservation. Okay. So I think I have just last 2 slides on what needs to be done. Okay. Yeah. So if we want to emerge as a water as a water strong and a water secure country. There's certain things I think that we need to do, and I would like to place before this August gathering. The first one, which I've not written here, is actually to acknowledge that there is a problem. Acknowledge there is a problem, accept it, and then work collectively towards it. One of the main themes of our conference is how we can work, collaborate, and do partnerships. But unless we recognize that there is a problem, then we will not be able to address it. And I think this conference, it goes a long way, because we are recognizing that there is an issue, and we want to kind of try and solve the issue. Decentralized rainwater conservation helps recharge small rivers. It helps recharge aquifers. And we need to expedite this groundwater recharge. We saw examples from Dr. Jain's work with various industries, which was really fascinating to see how you even kept the salinity at bay. And sir, if you keep the salinity at bay, it also prevents the impact on infrastructure. Because when you have saline water coming in your basements, your pipes, everything is going to degrade because of the salinity. So this is really an excellent work that you have done along with Ambuja Cement. Also deepen the understanding that how ecosystem is important. You can't just remove the forests, remove the mountains, and then say we will become water secure. Every part of nature has a role to play, and whatever development that we want to do, we need to keep that in mind. What is going to be the impact on our water resources, and do we really want that development which is going to dry up our water resources? Surface water, groundwater, like I mentioned before, has a very good relationship. If once this relationship is snapped, then your groundwater also goes, your river water also goes. Maintain this balance, you will have healthy, you'll have base flows in your rivers, and you will have year-round water security. And address the issue of the water pollution crisis. This is something that we need to work together to understand, okay, we are already in a state now, what can we do? Dilution is one solution. How can we make, engage with the industry to see that there is accountability and better governance? And also develop a water sensitive conscience. I think this is something that even Pragya mentioned, that we ourselves, even the people, even the industry, even the government, whoever is part of this country, how can we develop a water conscience so that we manage water better? Thank you for your kind attention. I'm sorry I took a little more time. If you're interested in how this groundwater conservation happens and some scientific evidence to show how it using satellite imagery, please you can contact me. I will send you a soft copy of the book. Thank you.